Hi, I'm Dominic. Thanks for watching Dominic's Woodworks. And after I've showed you recently how my shop looks, you can probably imagine how my desk looks like. Like after some kind of natural disaster, say a volcanic eruption. Let's do something about it. After selecting some tapered scraps and stacking them according to size, I started by marking the slope I wanted on the side and rounding over the base's corner on the bandsaw. Over on the table saw, I then tried to trim the axis by making angle cuts along the slope line. I did that on the left side of the blade for no reason that I can remember, and it should work as well on the other side of the piece with them flipped over. For the last piece where the slope transitions to the base, I did something different since the blade would not tilt far enough for that. Instead, I straightened the blade again and worked my way along the piece with consecutive blind cuts, just like you would making a dado without a dado stack, while steadily lowering the blade. All went well until... Looking at the video, I believe that me tightening the fence during the cut nudged it slightly towards the blade and caused the kickback. No excuses for that. To mend the damage, I use wood filler and use another piece on top to make sure the surface turns out flat. Then I glue the pieces together in 2 steps. I use parallel clamps because they do not cause any lateral movement, thus keeping the pieces aligned. This is not as important in this project, but I like not having the pieces slide around on me either way. In order to get the Volcano out of the particle board, I screw it to a large board, particle board itself, but any surface large enough would do. The idea was to clamp the board down, but mine was heavy enough not to move anyway. The bulk of the shaping will be done with an angle grinder and a coarse sanding disc. Since there will be a lot of sawdust and no humane way to add dust collection, a dust mask is a must. The fact that this is a free-form project allows for plenty of time to get the hang of handling the angle grinder as an aggressive sander. After I am happy with the shape, I take it off the base plate and use the random orbital sander to knock over the coarse spots, not trying to get the whole thing smooth. To make it look like a volcano, I wanted to preserve the unique texture of the particle board and watered down the colors I used. Well, I watered down my first attempt way too much, and wetting the piece gave it more color than the actual paint itself. Then I switched to black and less water and hit it spot on. To actually make it a storage solution, I then drilled several holes. A large one into the top with my largest Forstner bit and some more on the front slope. For those I used spade bits, and I tilted my drill press table till the angle seemed right. I also clamped down the piece so it would not wander. To realize a volcanic color pattern, I used watered down color starting with red. I use a small brush to paint the inside of the holes. Then I fill them with excess color and gently shake and tilt the piece to let the color flow out. Going slow about it created a nice pattern, and I repeated the process using orange and then yellow. Finally, I add a few coats of spray lacquer. And here's the finished product. You can take pens and put them up here, or you can place them in these holes just like so. Actually wanted to put some kind of divot in here for, say, paper clips or something, but well, I forgot and I'm not grinding that down now. So, here we are, desk organizing Volcano. I like how the colors worked out, and the MDF gives it just enough texture to actually look like a mountain. Or something like that. I hope you enjoyed this. Maybe it inspires you to make something of your own, and really with the angle grinder and the grinding disc and some pieces of MDF you can work a lot of shapes out of this. And if you work with the texture of the MDF, like say inside this hole or on the back, you can actually make it work to your advantage. Thanks for watching, please share this video and remember to be inspired.